AmaZulu as a nation, ukungena kwesile esibayeni, why is it significant?
I think, Ms. Koge, I've repeatedly said, ukungena esibayeni was only done by His Majesty, King Cyprian, Nyangazizwe, Noguzulu Solomon. And I was present when it took place at Masasa Palace. And that the late King Zwelithini Kapelguzulu did not do the ceremony of entering the what called the Ungena Eswayin. But it's one of the customs of the Zulu people. I myself remember that I had to go through the emotions of that also. But I think that it has been given more prominence and more importance than it really deserves, because some people have equated it to coronation, and some people have said that if the king has not done so, then he's not the king, which is absolutely not false, because the king is on the throne now, and actually he goes through the motions of it purely because it's one of the traditions and customs of the Zulu people, and for no other reason. Because all of us here are aware that the head of state, Mr. Ramaphosa, had already recognized the king as the king and as on the throne, and even published this in the government gazette.
Shele, I-Ivan Sitoka, because kubaluleke kangakanani Shele lokho kwenzeka izolo isilo sikwazi ukubulala ingonyama.
Pardon?
Kubaluleke kangakanani lokho kwenzeka izolo isilo sikwazi ukubulala ingonyama. Kubaluleke kangakanani emlandweni wakwaZulu.
Even that is not, that is actually blown out of proportion as well, because truly speaking, the only lion that stands out in the annals of the Zulu people is the lion when King Bande, was getting, feeling that, his days were numbered. He then asked his people to kill an old lion because he wanted to be wrapped up in the skin of an old lion. And in fact, the regiments went out and hunted, an old lion, and it was discovered, and then the skin that was used. And no other king was wrapped up in a lion skin, really. I was saying that even that was given an importance that it really did not deserve, because, as I say, it's the only lion that stands out in the honors of the Zulu people. The lion that the King Bande gave orders to his regiment to kill, so that he could be wrapped up in the skin of that lion. And that's what happened.
If I could ask you a question as well. My name is Kolim Gambi from Newsroom Africa. And my question has to do with the significance of what is happening outside. There's something attached to the skies above. It's quite cold and it's raining outside. I'm saying it's raining outside. Yes. And I know there's a
particular...
I
think it's our belief as Zulu people,
yes,
that when important events take place, say the inauguration or the installation of the king, that it rains. And it's a good omen, When it does rain, it is actually believed that, in fact, the ancestral spirits are actually, a positive attitude towards what is going on, and confirming that the event that is taking place is important as you think.
And perhaps to then use your very words of the good omen, do you think that could rub off to the family, that good omen? Do you think that could rub off so that all these factions perhaps accept that a king is on the throne now?
Well, we believe so, because if there is an indication that actually the ancestral spirits have a positive attitude towards an event, it means they approve of the event, and in this case, we hope therefore the installation of our king is the approval of our ancestral spirits.
Thank you, Sheikh.
Shege mhlambe i-follow up kukhona ukukhuluma kwasegcekeni. Yesterday there was a media briefing by princes, including Prince Mbonisi, announcing Prince Buzabazi as the preferred candidate, and there's the issue of Princess Magade. What do you make of the latest developments?
In fact, I said this, if it was not so sad, insofar as actually it really makes the Zulu nation a laughing stock. I think that it will be laughable because, really, as they say to me, I think I cannot describe it as something funny, because we can't have 2 or 3. In fact, it's unprecedented that the Zulu people ever had at the same time so many people who project themselves as candidates for the throne. It's unprecedented that at this time no less than 3 people were actually claiming that they have a right to be inheritors of the Zulu throne.
A follow-up Shenge, on that. My name is Simpo Makanya from the SABC. Shenge, you've played a significant role in the AmaZulu nation as a whole. I'm saying you have played a significant role in the nation of AmaZulu as a whole. Would you perhaps be willing? Would you be willing, Shenge, to try and mend these broken relations that exist amongst the family?
Well, actually, I mean, the eldest people in the royal family are here with me. Is the matriarch, the widow of King Cyprian Pebezulu. She is the only remaining widow. And the other royal lady, on the other hand, is the widow of Prince Mqayizeni Israel, who was regent when King Cyprian passed away. He acted as regent and acted before the late King Zwelithini took over the throne. These are the most senior people in this palace at the present time. Now, as far as who, I suppose it's the responsibility of all of us in the royal family to see to it that there is peace. But whether there will be peace, I really don't know, because already there have been 5 court cases in the High Court, which each time they lose cases in the High Court, they take another action. As I've said, I've just received a letter, and my driver actually knows it. Just as I was leaving my home to come here, I received this letter from attorneys, application for leave to appeal Queen Sibongile Winfred Zulu versus Queen Buhle Marty and others, with reference to the application lodged in this office on the 20th May. This court ordered on the 10th of August that the application be granted as pertained order. So this is the latest we have received. Having considered the notice of motion and the other documents filed, it is ordered that condonation as applied for is granted. The applicant and for consideration is to pay the costs of this application. 2, leave to appeal is granted to the Supreme Court of Appeal. 3, the costs order of the court occur in dismissing the application for leave to appeal is set aside, and the costs of the application for leave to appeal in this court are costs in the appeal. If the applicant does not proceed with the appeal, the applicant is to pay the costs. This is the latest development as far as this matter is concerned.
Chair, Funguda weDelegates. Unombono ovezwe NFP. Unombono ovezwe iNFP ithi mhlawumbe uma kuhlangana inkosi umntwana nalo wayomongameli uJacob Zuma inhlangano mhlawumbe ke nencobelo baseDonkulu mhlawumbe ngingaphuma ngegama. Phela uthi mhlawumbe umbono wenkosi.
Nani?
Mhlawumbe nankinga ezikhona eDonkulu mhlawumbe uma inhlangano nobaba uJacob Zuma inhlangano mhlawumbe nizama ukuxazulula. So umbono weNFP lo. Sibengeke ukuthi inkosi ithi mhlawumbe kulo mbono weNFP.
Angizwa kahle umbuzo.
Makeba.
Umbuzo.
Cha noma keba iNFP ibeke umbono. NFP iqembu leNFP. NFP.
Oh, NFP.
Yes, makeba. So iNFP makeba ithi mhlawumbe uma mina ningahlangana makeba nobaba uJacob Zuma nixazulule inkinga eDonkulu. Nje mhlawumbe senizakhamuzi endala kwisifundazwe futhi naqopha umlando nixazulula inkinga yayikhona kwezepolitiki ngale minyaka nihlangene nobabili.
It's very interesting why pick on Mr. Zuma. I think Mr. Zuma has more than enough on his plate. I don't think that if I were him, I would be interested, to add more than he has on his plate. Because I don't know why the NFP in particular picks up on our former president, Mr. Zuma.
Well, there you have it there. Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi answering one more question in that media briefing ahead of the traditional ceremony marking the entrance of King Misuzulu Kazwelithini into the crowd that's set to take place from tonight, and then tomorrow the big event opening there at KwaNongoma.